I am a child of the coming to the end of the sexual revolution. I had a whole other experience. So, sexual revolution or whatever. But all right, let's get into this. Hardbodies is the first movie we're going to talk about tonight, which is a 1984 American sex comedy film about three middle-aged men who hire a younger man to help him pick up women at the beach. The film was directed by Mark Griffiths, who you might know from a whole lot of movies. Most recently, back in 20 something. Well, the 2015 he did something called A Novel Romance, which doesn't have a hyperlink. But some other ones that do. We've got Love's Unending Legacy in 2007, Our House in 2006, Beethoven's Fifth. You've heard of the dog movies. Remember the dog movies?
Oh, yeah.
Beethoven's Fifth was 2003. He Behind Enemy Lines, as a matter of fact.
But not the one you're thinking of.
But not the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. Not even close.
No, I saw that and was like, oh, cool. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah. There's actually a sequel to this called Hardbodies too, which has nothing to do with anything. So that's him. And it stars Grant Kramer, Courtney Gaines, and Gary Wood. If you don't know who any of these people are, that's great. No one does. It was partly financed by Roger Corman, and if you don't know who Roger Corman is, he made all your favorite B movies back in the day. Fantastic stuff.
If you've seen a Vincent Price movie, more than likely you know who Roger Corman is, or at least seen his name pop up as directed by.
Yes. And it features Roberta Collins in a supporting role. So the plot of this thing, if one could call it that, as I said, three divorced middle-aged men rent a beach house in Malibu, where all the good beach houses are, to relive their youth and score. We're going to score. We're going to score tonight. Come on, sing it with me, Dorian. We're going to score tonight. Grease 2 is awful. But quickly realized...
That's why I couldn't sing with you, because I was like, I know I can't. I'm sorry. Michelle Pfeiffer's the only thing out of that movie I remember.
Someday I'm going to do a Long Road to Ruin just so I can talk about both Grease and Grease 2. I'm going to have you there, and it'll be exactly what you think it is. It'll be a hostage-taking situation.
Right. It's like...
Just you, Shay, Mick, Robert, and just the whole Pat, everybody just be on like, none of us want to be here. Like, and there's gonna be me in the center with a party hat on, going, "It's my 50th birthday. This is what we're doing."
You signed up. It's like every time you've told someone new they've come on here, like maybe for like the second or third time, it's like, we haven't run you off yet. That was the warning. That was your time to hit the door, but you didn't. So now you're stuck here reviewing Grease 2. This is on you.
Now we all now for a rousing chorus of I want a cool rider.
Oh yeah,
cool rider. If he's cool enough, then he'll burn me through and through. I want a rider. That's cool. They hire Scotty, a slick-talking local ladies' man, to teach them the art of picking up hard bodies. As the trio struggles to keep up with the party lifestyle, things take a turn when Scotty's own love interest, Kimberly, is pursued by one of the older men, like you do. The story climaxes with Scotty reclaiming his self-respect and getting the girl, while the old guys are forced to admit they can't buy youth or love with money or tricks. I will ask you first, and then I will give a concerted craft review. What did you think of Hardbodies, Dorian?
It was fun. Like, it felt like a movie that literally would have been like a made for TV. Like, honestly, as I was watching it, I was like, if you took out all the comedy, or like some of the comedy and all the raunchy stuff and twisted it about 2 inches this way, it's a Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
It's like right there. It's like, maybe if I don't know when Lifetime Channel started, but maybe some young producer was going, okay, what if we did this just without all the sex?
It's like, let's take the testosterone out of this and problematic elements and just do a meditation on sex and aging.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's but no, it was again, I didn't recognize any of the actors, and I felt bad because like I went through, there was one that had been in something else that I saw, but I hadn't remembered like their character, because I was like getting on IMDb going, I've got to have seen you in Skies and something else. Nope. Nope.
No, sorry, Bob.
And The film had strains of like Weekend at Bernie's, a little bit of The Hangover. I kind of felt in there too, and that's what made it fun. From the very start, once I was obviously he's kicked out of his apartment. He hooks up with the I shouldn't say hook up in this case. he joins forces with the guys. What's in the minute they introduced Christy, who's going to be our love interest. What's going to happen. You're going to redeem yourself, all Darth Vader style, and everything's going to end happily, and we'll all learn a lesson and go home. But until then, let's have some fun. So again, overall, I don't know if I'd go and watch it again, but if okay, I'll say this: I wouldn't seek it out. But if I had a whole bunch of friends over and we were just talking and like getting drunk and chilling, I might be like, okay, guys, you gotta watch this. And not from the point of view of if I must suffer, humanity must suffer with me, but more from the point of view of it's a fun movie. It was during the heyday of like the sex comedy, as you were pointing out, and it's like I said, a time capsule in history. So it was kind of cool to see just drenched in the 80s. Especially now with stuff like Stranger Things, where they try to be like, yes, we're 80s, but we're not shoving it down your throat. This was just dead set, in the 80s, so it's just drenched with it.
Yeah, it was a window into that period of time because it was in that period of time.
Exactly.
It was contemporary. You know what I like about Hardbodies? First, this is not a great movie. This was also not what I had never actually seen it. Like I said, I am aware of the raunchy 80s sex comedy hardbody movies because I lived them. I rented them. It was a big part of my youth, but I never saw this one. And so this was kind of that term rang out to me. And when I was researching this genre for a future show, this was a couple of years ago, this came up and I'm like, oh, they actually made a Hardbodies movie from the hardbody genre. Well, that's a must watch. And, lo these many years later, here we are. It is cheaply made. It feels every bit of its very low budget. I think the budget was less than $2 million. But Jesus Christ, Dorian, you could make this movie.
Right?
Less than $2 million or $1 million. It literally is what it says in the budget line.
Yeah.
It made 7.1 in the box office.
So it made its money back.
Yeah.
So and from the point of view of a production company, which is probably why I got a second one, it's like, fuck yeah, we made our money back. Sweet.
Yeah. Again, there was this may come as a shock to people, but people used to go to the movies to be entertained. And they're more seriously, they're the regional drive-in experience is now lost on us because nothing is regional anymore. The internet pretty much destroyed anything that was ever regional, and definitely post-COVID streaming wars, that was the end of that. But back in the day, there used to be regional drive-in circuits. And so like you would get a movie that was passed around drive-ins in like, let's say, the Mid-Atlantic area, or just in one single state alone, and it didn't really get out of that state. Things like that. So like something like Hardbodies would be a movie that you might catch at the drive-in. And what appeal that this has. Teenagers would go see it because they see themselves there. This is about them. There's sexy girls in there, so there's something for the guys. There's hot-looking men, with bodies. There's something for the ladies. It was a good date night movie. I mean, I can see why this has wide appeal despite the adult content. That being said, it's the other thing about it, and I think this is important to talk about, is how weirdly relatable it actually is. Because if you strip away sort of the veneer of contemporary 80s aesthetic and you strip away there was a lot less raunch in this sex comedy than I thought there'd be.
Oh yeah, no, I was kind of shocked.
Yeah, like this is almost tame by comparison to some of the other stuff I've seen.
Right, like case in point, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Caddyshack, any of those.
Well, I like Revenge of the Nerds features a sexual assault. It wasn't called it at the time, but
That was called a joke, and now we look at it and go,
oh, you're not the person I thought I was banging. Ha ha.
That's hilarious. This'll age well.
Yeah, no, we won't look back at that and go, yeesh.
Yeah.
But like Porky's or Revenge of the Nerds are definitely more, more raunchy and problematic than Hardbodies ever was.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of like you're a guy and it's funny. I watch a lot of TikToks and they say this sort of thing now where if you're a guy, don't worry about dating right now. Get your career, get your money, get your stuff, and when you're established and you're the king of your world, then date. You'll be better off for it. And that's kind of what these guys do. Like, if you think about like their story, they're all fairly rich fellas, but they've focused so much on themselves and their careers and acquiring a life filled with stuff. They don't know how to relate to girls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the young ne'er-do-well comes in. Because when we meet him, he's a slob. He's living in, he's evicted from his apartment, which is overrun with, roaches that in the next movie will try to conquer the earth. That fridge scene rivals the bathroom scene in Desperado for grossness.
Right.
Which they make, it's purposely gross. It's to upset the woman that's in that scene.
Yeah.
But, it's like, so here's this kid who is super relatable, in terms of, women. He is Robert Downey Jr.'s character from The Pickup Artist. This guy's superpower is he knows how to get with women. It helps that he's blonde and good looking, but that's what he does. He's charismatic. He knows how to talk to the ladies. What he doesn't know how to do is anything else. And so he pairs up with this group of guys who they're all thumbs when it comes to talking to women. And so they work together, and then, the plot unfolds. And I think that today, in the year of our Lord 2025, that's kind of a fun story. Because I think it is relatable. I think there are a lot of guys that would relate to the idea of I really don't know how to talk to women. I know how to talk to other guys. I know how to earn a living. I know how to do that kind of thing. But I really don't know what it is I'm supposed to do besides flash cash around to attract women. And when I flash cash around, the only thing I'm going to attract is somebody who wants money.
Yeah.
If I'm looking for a partner, I don't know how to do that. And that is kind of when you crack the hard surface of Hardbodies, no pun intended.
You're right.
What is going on at the heart of this thing, which I thought was kind of sweet. Now, is the movie all kinds of dopey? Sure. Is there good acting in this? No. This is the worst. But I'm here to find the treasure in the trash can. And I think there's a lot of surface level nonsense and, shiny things covering what is, I think, a very relatable story.